Hello everyone. In this video we'll be taking a look at a scenario where civilization starts over. We're on episode 32 now, I think. And in the last video we saw the World War II continue on as we saw it start the video prior to that. And yeah, this is the state of the world at the moment. We have basically front lines in almost every continent. But in this video we'll be mainly focusing on this war, and it will only be about this war, and we'll be seeing the war start to rise up even more and tensions rise more. So if you like this sort of content, consider liking and subscribing, as I'm on the road to 200 subscribers by the end of this year. And yeah, I just want to say thanks for 150 subscribers. That goal has now been reached and I'm very happy. So the next goal is 200 subs. But anyways, let's get into the video. We're looking over here at Kazakhstan, and they are not in a good shape, as we basically see them being attacked from every side. Uh, their front on the Russians are now being pushed back as the Russians liberate their two major cities, and yeah, they don't even stand a chance. It's the Russian Empire, and we'll see the Russians push through, and yeah, it's game over now for Kazakhstan, and their government know that. So their government does the smart decision to flee into this Tibet nation, then into the banana nation, and from that into the Indian nation, and basically leaving their country to die, as we see Mongolian troops continue pushing in, capturing yet another major city. And this basically continues on as the Caspia also continues their invasion here, spearheading up and taking a major city, because the military basically has failed in this nation now. There's no order or laws or anything, it's just anarchy left. The Persians continue their front as well, but they stop as they need to put more resources on their front that will start over here and keep the front in the Middle East like that. But this nation ends up surrendering to Mongolia, and that's the first nation to fall in this war so far. And it's Kazakhstan, one of the bigger nations in the world, and this comes as a shock to very many nations, as they were seen as an kind of regional power, keeping Caspia and the Mongolians in check, but I guess that they weren't so strong after all. But talking about Iran here, or Persia, or whatever you call them, we'll be seeing them take over this city, and this is a very populated city. It's a very historical city, as it's the original capital of the Pink Nation over here, and that will be a major loss to the Pink team, as all three of these major cities fall in few months, and that demonstrates the true power of the Iranian or Persian forces, as these guys are out for revenge. But now we also see them start a little front into this nation. It joined the war last episode, I think. You take a look at the alliance later. Yep, they and India are in this war. So the Persians take the opportunity to start a front into this region themselves at first, and it goes very well. And they even make a spearhead and capture the capital in few weeks. And this nation is basically just wasteland now. It's just a road bump for the Persians, and the Persians know that, so they won't be pushing in anymore, just leaving this area here as like an buffer state against the Indians, as the Indians, they are very tiny. They are not in peak form right now, but they can still put up a great fight. Iran knows that, so they won't be pushing their lucks. Looking back here at the Chinese front, we'll see South China continue pushing in, as they continue having great success, now sieging this major city and capturing this. And the Chinese country is kind of screwed right now. They're putting a lot of forces on the Mongolian front. That's now going on the Mongolian side, as yeah, China is starting to have better problem here. two kind of strong nations coming from two sides. And if you know anything about history, you know that two front wars are not a thing you want. But now we see that Japan here starts to rapidly aid the Chinese. But now we see a nation join this little war. We see Korea enter the war on the Square Team side and capturing two major cities very fast in just a few days. And this is a big surprise as Korea, they wanted to stay neutral as they basically didn't like any side. They didn't like the Square Team or the 3-Point Star Alliance. But I mean, China, they're collapsing right now, so they wanted some land from this in the future if they manage to survive this war. They would like some land from China, as China basically played a big part in their collapse very long ago. But they forgot that Japanese are very strong with their navy capabilities, so they just take these islands and make a landing in the south here, capturing this major city and setting up defenses in that area. And there's nothing you really can do once the Japanese make a great naval landing in your country. You just need to defend, or yeah, just put on soldiers here and keep them from expanding. You can't really remove them. The Japanese are great on defensive wars, so just give up on that. But looking away from here, we'll be looking over at Europe now, where basically the war started. Now we have many things happening here. We see the Russians' invasion of Caucasia still going on, and it's going great as they're pushing in very deep, but it's starting to get slowed down now. But don't worry, as we see the Caspians, they will now be the heroes they are and start in front into here as well, capturing two major cities in few weeks before focusing on this whole coast and capturing this major city and meeting up with the Persians, and now they have a direct route that supplies this. So yeah, the Caucasians are getting a bit of PTSD here as yeah, it's not going too great. They are now removed from the Caspian Sea, and yeah, the Caucasians maybe be the second nation that falls in this video, who knows. But looking over at the German front over here, we see it continue on with great success for the Germans until they reach this like part of the front, and now they start to get pushed back by the big force of the Russians. There's really nothing you can do, as the Germans, they were lucky because the Russians had all of their troops down here, over here, and in the Nordic Union, but now they have sent some troops back over here and starting to push you back. We see the Baltic area get separated from the main front, but we see the Germans manage to hold up over here. This area gets pushed back, but then it stalls and stalemates like that, and the Germans actually managed to push back up and capture this and this major city right here before it fully stalemates. As we see basically pixels moving, not that much, but over here we see a big push from the Germans like that. Over here in the Nordic Union, we'll be seeing them continue invading as they finally captured this island right here and this island before making naval landing into mainland Finland, capturing these two major cities in few weeks. And yeah, this front is also kind of it's not stalemate, but yeah, the Nordic Union and the Russians are basically tied up in this front as they both make successes, then lose some land, then regain some land. It's kind of weird, but we see the Nordic Union push them back a lot. But looking over at Tunisia, we see a coup being staged, and their like big council that used to have its own throne, and we see one dictator and fascist being installed. And the days after this, they join the Square Team and start to blitz right through the border with Morocco. And yeah, Tunisia are just insane. They have nukes, so that means nukes have been almost an idea of being used in Tunisia's mind, but they didn't really have a big threat near them that they could use them on, as they are destroying Morocco right now, so I don't think they should use a nuke on Morocco, but they are planning on using them, and that's big no-no for everyone. Even the Russian says that it's not a good idea to use it, because no matter what, people will die, so why kill millions of people in one strike when maybe you could kill less people in few fronts, and you get it. Russia doesn't want millions of people to die just like that, so they are telling Tunisia no, but Tunisia doesn't really listen. They're fascist right now. The Russians aren't fascist, if you didn't know that. They are in dual leadership. That basically means there are two leaders of this country. I'd say like two dictators, but they're also monarchist and a little bit democratic, but not as democratic as like real democratic nations. But this front continues on until it stalemates like that, and yeah, Europe is even in more chaos. Looking back at South America, we see that the Brazilians are now doing a major pushback in this Central American nation, and yeah, it's GG's for them now, as they basically lose this whole area right here, as we see them start to push up and capture this, but then we see some Mexican troops fighting here, but yeah, that won't last long, as Florida has captured their meters or their capital, and we see them also kinda, yeah. Now we see Brazil invading into Mexico as well, and yeah, it's not a pretty sight, as yeah, these guys are basically controlling South America. There are nothing that can challenge them, so they have a very easy victory over here in the South American front. But looking up here, we see that Alaska have managed to push the blue Mexicans out of their country and liberated it fully, and that's a major success for them. Looking back at Europe here, we'll be seeing some random wars like Rome, uh, or Naples still be invading into Rome like that, and this is not a part of World War II, so we just see that being the peace treaty. They take Rome, that's all. Over here we see Romania, they'll be actually joining the war and declaring war on Germany, basically siding with the Russians. And Africa has gotten fully involved in this war, as we see a bunch of nations choosing side, and most importantly, we see that fighting happens like seconds after this happens, and yeah, it's kinda unfair, as this nation's now dead. These guys lose their capital in just a few weeks, and this front stalls after a few weeks. So yeah, then we see this Tanzanian nation deep invading to here and capture a lot of land. This brown Congo nation does the same and take the rest, and now that nation's gone. Up here we see the Congo nation push in but gets stalled, and but they manage to capture two major cities at least and push into this ugly flat border. Up here we see that Egypt, yes, Egypt, they are involved, so they'll be sending into troops into Sudan here, and it will go great, as Egypt is an African power. They are one of the strongest African nations, but yet they are unable to capture the capital of this nation, as basically Ethiopians troops come and save them, pushing the Egyptians back like that. Tanzania doesn't like that, so Tanzania starts fronts into Ethiopia here, and yeah, big war. We don't like that, but this pink team, they'll be invading into here, trying to get some land at least, as they, yeah, they invade into like that and holds it like that. And Africa is fully at war now too, so basically every continent is fully mobilized. Africa is about to explode. Asia has already exploded. Europe is basically already exploded. But now it's just basically North America that's need to explode. Then it's a fully global war and will become the biggest war in human history. But I'm sad to say that this will be the end of the video. If you liked it, consider subscribing, maybe even leaving a like. As I said at the start, we're on the road to 200 subscribers by the end of this year. That will be all. Goodbye.